So till now we have created the Windows EC2 instance. Let's create a Linux EC2 instance. How to create a Linux EC2 instance and how to connect to that one. So to create a Linux EC2 instance, what you can do, you can immediately terminate the instances. Okay, if you are not using anything. So after termination also it will reflect for some time, but after a few minutes you will see that these terminated instance will disappear from this console. Fine. So now I want to deploy one Linux EC2 instance. So click on launch EC2 instance. So there are multiple flavor of Linux is available. Red Hat Linux, SUSE Linux, Amazon has also their own Linux here. Okay, let me select this one. Select this. So T2 micro I am selecting. Go ahead with the configuration. So you can choose the subnet and the availability zone where you want to place this one. And also I need a public IP address on it. Right, enable, click on add storage. So in case of Windows, the volume size is 30 GB. But in case of EC2, Linux EC2 instance or Amazon Linux EC2 actually, you will get the 8 GB. In Red Hat, it's around 10 GB, I guess. Okay, so this is the size. The charges for Linux is less compared to the Windows. That also you have to keep in your mind. And size also it is occupying less here. So go to add tags. You can mention the name. Suppose I'm calling it Linux VM or EC2. Both are same, no differences. Okay. And because this is a Linux, when we like to connect to the Linux, I have to enable the port 22, that is the SSH port. Because here I will make a connection through the SSH based application like PuTTY. Okay, so you can enable this PuTTY, or right now you can enable all traffic also, up to you. Launch this one. Let's select this key, launch. So this is also one of the difference between AWS and Azure. In Azure, if you want to skip this key part, you can skip it directly with the username and password you can do, but here you have to create these keys. Okay, so instance state is running. Select this one. So you have a public IP address. Now how to connect to this EC2 instance? So to connect it, I need an application that's called PuTTY here. Open this one. So one thing when we are dealing with this PuTTY, one thing we need to understand, while creating this EC2 instance, I created a key. The key was, let me show you. Okay, so the key name is this one, synkey aws.pam. Okay, so this will be the key name with the .pam extension. So now when I'm trying to connect to this EC2 instance, I have to provide the key here. So generally how it works, MS Paint. So when I'm creating this EC2 instance, while creating it, it will create a key pair. It asks me to create a key pair. So there are two keys in it. Out of these two keys, one key will remain here, and second key, it will ask me the option to download on my laptop. So second key is created or stored on my laptop, right? So whenever I try to establish connection with this particular EC2 instance, when I will try to connect, it will ask me to provide this key also along with this. If you provide this key, then only this EC2 instance will identify you and it will authorize you basically, and it will allow you to connect to this particular EC2 instance. But the key which is downloaded on my laptop, that is in .pam extension. Okay, and to connect to this EC2 instance, I am using an application that is PuTTY here. But this PuTTY do not understand this .pam extension. Don't understand means if you use this key, with this particular application, it will not recognize it. It will not work with this one. So what I have to do, I have to convert it. I have to convert this key into a different format. So how I can convert? So you have to download one application that is called as PuttyZen. So generally when we download Putty, along with that this PuttyZen also get downloaded. Okay, or if it is not downloaded or installed, you can search specifically and install, download and install it. Simple process. So open this PuttyZen. This is down installed on my laptop. So click on load. Okay, so what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to convert this .pem into a format which can be recognized by the Putty application. So click on load here, then go to download and search your key. So your key name is so this is not showing up here. So what you can do, click on all files. So now search for Singapore. Okay, this is my file, synkey aws.pem. So select this file. Okay, then save private key, and you can save it with any name. Let's say I'm calling it test day one. So this is the new name and the extension will be .ppk. So test day one.ppk will be the file name. Fine. So file has been converted into test day one, I guess. I don't remember. .ppk. So this will be the new extension .ppk. Now this file you can attach here with the Putty, and Putty will understand this file and you can establish the connection, right? So how to do this? Now close this one also, copy the public IP address of this EC2 instance and go here and type Putty, paste this IP address, then go to SSH. Here you will get an option called authentication. Click on auth, click on browse, and in download, this is my extension, test day one.ppk. Select this, click on open and open. Yes. So what will be the username here? Because when we created this EC2 instance, nowhere it asked me to provide the username, because the by default username is EC2-user here. Hit enter. Okay, so this username you have to memorize. This is the default username what you have to use in case of this one. So right now I have logged in with EC2-user. If you want to switch back as root, so you can type the command sudo su. Now you have switched to the root here. Okay, and you got the access of the Linux console. Here onwards, if you have the knowledge of Linux, you can take it forward. Fine, so we will do some practicals in Linux operating system also. So you'll get some knowledge about Linux as well throughout this course. So we'll see it. Fine. So this is how we create a Windows EC2 instance and Linux EC2 instance. Also, we had seen how to deploy a website inside a Windows EC2 instance here. So let me take you through some bullet points regarding EC2 instance, because these are important from the interview point of view. So EC2 instance is a web service that provides secure, resizable compute capacity in the cloud. Okay, so when we create EC2 instance in AWS provides us a range of processor, like you can choose Intel, AMD, and ARM also, right? So these type of processes are available, wide range of storage is available, networking, operating systems is available, as well as different purchase models are also available. So this is very important. AWS offers the fastest processor in the cloud. Okay, and AWS is the only cloud with 400 Gbps Ethernet NIC. So when you create a EC2, there will be a NIC. So AWS provide you a NIC which has the 400 Gbps capacity also. So this is the only cloud provider who provide the Mac support. You can see that the Mac image is available when we create a EC2 instance. Also, you can choose from the Intel, AMD, and the ARM-based processor. So these three options are available in processor. So AWS has availability in 24 regions, and there are 24 regions actually, and 77 availability zone. So this data is valid up to July 2020, I guess. Okay, there might be some changes because they announce new regions and availability zones very frequently. And the SLA commitment, uptime of your EC2 or uptime of other services is around 99.99%. Okay, so whenever we create the EC2 instance in a particular region, there is a limit here. You cannot create more than 20 instances per region. Suppose Singapore, you can create only 20 instances at a time. If you want to create more than 20 instances, then in that case, you have to raise a request with the AWS that I want to create more instances, right? Once they approve, then only you can do this one. So why they have put this limitation here? Because sometimes what happens by mistake, people can create more number of EC2 instances, because here you have seen that in the EC2 instance console itself, it asks you how many EC2 instance you need. If by mistake, if you write 40, 50, so it will deploy those number of EC2 instances for you. So to avoid such kind of accidental problem, they have put this limitation here. So whenever we stop the virtual machine, so as I told you that all of the resources, those are allocated with that particular EC2 instance will be released, except the volume which is attached. Okay, you have to pay for that. Whenever we stop a virtual machine, generally we are not supposed to pay for that EC2 instance, because the resources those are aligned with that EC2 has been released already. Okay, the physical components and all. But you have to pay for the volume which is attached, because volume you can keep it because your data is there in case when you are stopping a EC2 instance. Also, we discussed about Amazon EC2 instance type. So there are 5 types here: general purpose, compute optimized, memory optimized, accelerated, and the storage. If you want to memorize them, it's very simple. General means it's a fine balance of your memory, CPU, and other things, other component which define the overall performance of your EC2. Compute stand for processing power, memory stand for RAM, accelerated means graphic, okay, graphic card and all, storage means storage, very simple. So if you remember in this way, you will understand and you can memorize all these 5 categories very easily.